up, but let's get going.
Recording in progress.
Okay, since we do not have a chair or a vice chair selected, I will conduct the meeting until then. So we will open up the Architectural Board review for March 16th, 2026, and we will start with roll call.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. I'll go ahead and take a roll call. Board Member Lauren Anderson. Here. Board Member Whalen.
Here.
Board Member Trey Anderson.
Here.
Board Member Black is absent. Board Member Noon.
Here.
Board Member Six.
Here.
And Board Member Soffren.
Here.
We have quorum. Thank you.
So we can open up the first general business item, which is a re-election of chair and vice chair. And so we will begin the nomination process for chair. At this stage, we are only accepting nominations. Voting will occur after all nominations have been collected. Please do not vote or indicate preferences yes, so we can go down the line. And we can start with chair.
I'll nominate Lauren Anderson.
I'll nominate Steve Noon.
Can we just go one by one? So, Board Member Trey Anderson.
Okay. I'll nominate Steve Noon.
Now, are we doing nominations and then we're voting
Yes.
on paper? Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it,
Board members, I'll clarify. Ted Hamilton role, design review supervisor. There only has to be one nomination, and then y'all vote. So it's an iterative process. If the vote passes for one nomination over the other, then that's who gets elected. Is that your understanding, Mr. Russell? That's my understanding.
yeah, so, yeah, I would agree.
So what you're saying is right now we have two nominations, and if that's all the nominations you receive, then when everyone votes, whichever nomination has the most votes.
So we have nominations, or candidates are Lauren Anderson and Steve Noon, so we'll now vote. And let's see. Oh, it should actually be a written ballot. I don't think I've ever done this before. I apologize for the confusion. All right, do we have something?
Should we do nomination for vice chair so the ballot could have both on it maybe?
Yes.
And Ted, I actually nominated Steve 3 or 4 meetings back. So that already, there is history on this. That was one.
So it's still a re-election, but we can, it's new voting today, so.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that to the foreground because I think that's important. And I think that's kind of what spawned the re-vote. And you had said, you heard that nomination, but
I had, yeah.
nobody else heard it
Separately.
or claimed not to hear it.
So we'd also have to do vice chair separately. So bear with us, there's new procedures for this because this is happening at other boards. So staff came up with some procedures to do this. So I can also explain too, anyone may nominate a candidate, including themselves. We will collect all nominations first, confirm the list of candidates, and then proceed to voting. And so we can go around. It says everyone needs to do this, by the way. Yeah. But so then we'll close the nomination, so I think that's done now.
Well, if it says everyone should be here, then does this mean that we should postpone the vote?
No, because Board Member Black had already emailed in his nominations.
Yep.
So then it says, if more than one person is nominated, then a written ballot shall be conducted. Staff hands out pieces of paper to each board member, who then writes down nominee of their choice. Ballots are collected by staff and counted by name. Staff then announces the winner and declares him or her elected. If there is a tie, then another ballot is taken in the same manner. So write your nominations down, and then we can come by and collect them.
Don't we need to know what Board Member Black put?
I'll write it down.
Well, what about the vice chair? Do we have
So
to
that's the
nominate?
second nomination process.
And then vice chair is next.
Okay.
Thank you.
What it says is that,
Yeah, that sounds good.
I think it's staff announces the winner and then declares him or her elected. So I don't think you need to announce.
Okay.
Excuse me, but I have a question.
Sure.
Can one who is nominated decline the opportunity?
Yes.
I'll go ahead and, I don't mean to offend anyone or upset anyone, but I was not, I guess I want to decline the nomination. Had not prepared to do that and feel that the one I nominated is more than adequate and has done a wonderful job. So I'm going to decline, gentlemen. I apologize to
Okay.
surprise
Well,
you with that. but-
I don't know, we'll let admin staff, I think, has counted up the votes, so.
Wait. If the one nominee has declined, then the nominators should have a extra opportunity to nominate somebody else, I would think. I don't want to mess things up, but I want to make sure that everybody has their equal day.
Yeah, it's kind of like a motion.
I don't know, yeah.
If I could add,
Apologies
if
for the
the
confusion here.
nomination is declined, we really have to revote because we just voted on
Right.
the person who declined.
That's what should happen. There should be a revote for chair. So
And there should be a,
are there any additional nominations for chair?
I'd like to nominate David Black.
Well, I want to add, to give context, the purpose and to kind of second on what board member Will Sofrin summarized a few meetings back, about the optics for the public of continuously reelecting the same people doesn't look that good, because part of democracy is a turnover and a change of people and transparency about that. And and the other thing is, David Black is a landscape architect, so this is an architectural board. There's kind of that, and I would never nominate myself, and I don't think people should nominate themselves or vote for themselves, but I know that's allowed. But there should be some alternative. We shouldn't just keep reelecting the same people.
I'll respond to that. Board Member Trey Anderson, it is totally within the board's power to nominate and vote on a chair, and if that person, gets elected year after year, that's acceptable. I would encourage you all to, nominate different folks if you feel appropriate, but if, the person who has been doing the chair, you feel they're appropriate to continue, that's totally fine. It is up to the board to go ahead and nominate, so I'll leave it to you all to do so. I will caution against nominating someone who isn't here. I think if that person, if Mr. Black does win the vote, then the chair election should be postponed till the next hearing when he's here so that he can actually accept it.
Or he has a chance to decline the nomination.
Or he has a chance to decline, exactly.
I guess I'd also like to just chime in that I appreciate everything that Trey Anderson has said, and, where I'm coming from is, I think Lauren Anderson has done a wonderful job as chair, but I think it would be very disappointing in the board members to continue to be stagnant and to not share responsibility and not strive to continue to improve the board by providing different perspectives. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I'd like to chime in. I would like to accept the nomination, and I do feel like I've done a great job over the last 2 years, and I don't think I sway the vote in any way. That's the whole point of a chair position, is to allow all 7 people to give their opinion and express how each project complies with the design guidelines that were given. And I've actually tried to back off of doing any sort of like swaying of a vote. And also, I think that allowing other people to make the motion on a project is in fact making them more, or helping them with their professional ability, as you mentioned, that being in this position would do. And so I actually would like to accept the nomination for this chair.
A question to staff, if we've had a nomination of a member who is not here, it doesn't seem that we can continue for his opportunity to either accept or decline.
Well, I'll tell you what, I feel like I've made my point and you have all made your positions clear, so why don't we just withdraw David Black as a nomination and we will continue down this path.
Well, I'm curious because I know that it's pretty common on other boards that they just cycle through whoever is the chair, and it's just kind of like a part of one's responsibilities of being on a board that they would at some point in time take on that position. And I think that fosters collective ownership on the board so that, you know, you have to kind of learn about what that role entails. So why is this board unique in that way, in that we don't do that?
This is the 4th board I've sat on, and it is the only board that doesn't have a mechanism for changing leadership.
Board members, I would suggest a brief recess so that we can discuss this, basically so that staff can discuss this and understand what the next steps are. It sounds like we have a nomination for Chair Anderson and a nomination for David Black, who isn't here. So we need to determine whether we can actually vote on that or not. So I would suggest a quick recess, and we can come back to it.
One more suggestion is, could we contact to see if David Black is, can respond to his nomination?
Well, no. And Board Member Soffren sounded like you were going to pull your nomination vote, so.
Yeah, it seems futile. So it was really more to I do believe David Black would be a great chairman, but it seems sort of obvious that no one else really feels that way. So if we kind of understand, we know where, the 4 members here are sitting, that, kind of understand. I think I've said what I can say, but I think I'm very disappointed in the system here and that there is no mechanism for rotating leadership. And I think that there should be some sort of fail-safe. And I agree with what Member Anderson said, and as I said, this is the 4th board I'm sitting on, and it's the only board that does not have a mechanism for preventing this.
I would disagree with that. I think that there is a mechanism, and we're attempting to see it through right now. You may nominate and elect a chair and vice chair. So it sounds like we have 2 nominations. One of the people isn't here.
Well, maybe now just one. Are you pulling?
Unless it's, okay, so if it's pulled, then we have 1 nomination. And
So then we can move on to
Yeah,
the vice.
so-
So we would, I guess, vote, but I kind of want to see. If there's just
Well-
one nomination, if there's,
I'll put up
do
another
need to vote.
nomination if needed. So who else do we have left then? I nominate Dennis Whelan, Board Member Whelan, for the chair.
Okay, well, so then we could do a vote for, so we have 2 nominations unless there's any other nominations from the board. Hearing none, we can go through and vote for chair. So if anyone needs a piece of paper, so it's chair, it would be Chair Whalen or Chair Lauren Anderson. Yeah, those are the 2. And so then we'll collect your votes once they're done. No, it's annoying. And to be honest with you, everyone has a parasite, so
Thank you.
I don't get it. No, you're all good, thank you. Do we need, so then we'll do the same thing for vice chair, so I'm gonna pass out some more.
Excuse me, but don't we have to resolve the chair before we vote for vice?
True, yes, but I'm just getting
Did you cut these in half?
I did.
Oh, gosh.
I wanna see what else.
All right, thank you. So I do have majority vote for Lauren Anderson for chair.
Okay, cool. So, congratulations to Lauren Chair, Lauren, our new chair. We will now pass the meeting over to you to vote, or to conduct the vice chair election and continue on with the rest of the ABR agenda for today.
Okay, so we'll take nominations for vice chair.
I nominate Richard Six.
I decline.
I'll
Are there
nominate-
further
I'll
nominations?
nominate Board Member Whalen.
Any further nominations?
Well, I wish David Black were here so we could have him, but I guess since he's not here, then I'll nominate Board Member Will Soffren for the
Well,
vice chair.
I mean, I hate to do this, but if you do want to vote black, we would have to postpone. So it's up to you.
It's all right. I will nominate Board Member Soffren.
Okay. So we have 2.
Yes, we have 2 nominations, Board Member Whalen and Board Member Soffren. So you can cast your ballot.
And then.
No palate irregularities.
The hanging chad.
Or the Atlanta syndrome.
Thank you.
May I make a suggestion that would there be a possibility to have elections for officers more than once a year?
Thank you, Board Member Six. Currently, the standard practice for all advisory boards and commissions, at least the design review boards, is election of chair once a year, unless the chair
That's not,
resigns.
that's not a steadfast rule.
It is the standard. I'm not sure if it's a rule that's adopted by council. I believe it is actually in the guidelines, which have been adopted by council. I can look into that and get back to you.
I think it would be a council decision.
Yeah, we would have to get back to you. I believe I have actually read something that it is a yearly election, so I don't quote but yes, we could find that answer out for you.
Well, okay, so if it's, I sympathize and about this situation, and I think that we should try a effort to bridge the gaps and get a win-win here. So if you would look into that and see if there's a possibility, and what's wrong with leading the path and going into a new frontier.
Are you accepting it? I didn't think so.
So I do have a majority vote, and the majority vote is for Whalen for vice chair.
Chair Anderson, could I weigh in a bit
Sure.
on any of this? I just, it would help, gentlemen, if, or anyone, I agree with Board Member 6. I see the sympathy with the concerns that were brought up. I personally like that it's not a term limit sort of thing, so that, you know, if a person simply doesn't want to do it and likes, I agree with Board Member or Chair Anderson's identity of that position of not swaying a vote, but just sort of pulling all the votes together and keeping the meeting moving forward and on track. And I think she's done a wonderful job at that. So it would, I'm saying all that to say that it would help perhaps in the future if I knew that, well, before that, if any board member feels that there should be a change, express that through voting for yourself, nominating yourself. I think that, I don't think there's anything against that. So I would, if I knew that someone wanted to do that and were nominating themselves, it would be a lot easier for me to support that, knowing that they want to help in that position. This, for me, this felt, you know, this one felt a little awkward, but, you know, we're all adults and, you know, we work through it, and I appreciate the way everyone has commented and worked through it. But in the future, I think those comments might help.
Well, I wanted to add, because I do recall hearing, and this is to the new chair, Anderson, on the prior vote that you said you were going to decline the nomination, but perhaps I've just misheard that.
Yeah, I said that at that first meeting when I was, it had been a long meeting, and I had not heard that Steve was announced as a nomination, or I missed it, and I was upset that I didn't know if he wanted it, and then we went ahead with me sitting as chair of that meeting. And so, yeah, I was upset, and I said that out of being upset. So I want to stay in this position, so I don't know what else to say. And I don't think we're stagnant, so.
That's my recall, that it was a different set of circumstances when she declined that nomination.
All right, can
Okay.
we move on?
Yes, Chair, it's your meeting.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to public comment. So any member of the public may address the board for up to 2 minutes on any subject within its jurisdiction that is not on today's agenda.
Excuse me, Chair Anderson. Just have to let you know that I have to leave today at 3:45.
Okay, cool.
Thank you, Chair Anderson. Turning first to in-person public comment. If there's anyone in the room who'd like to speak on general business, that's items not on today's agenda, please fill out a speaker slip. Not seeing any movement, and we currently do not have any virtual participants, and no written correspondence was received for general public comment. Thank you. Back to you.
All right, let's move on to the approval of the minutes from the meeting on March 2nd.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay,
No
let's
discussion.
take a vote.
Okay. Chair Anderson.
Yes.
Vice Chair Whalen.
Abstain due to absence.
Board Member Black is absent. Board Member Noon.
Yes.
Board Member Six,
Yes.
Board Member Soffren,
Abstain?
and Board Member Anderson.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to the approval of the minutes from the consent meeting on March 2nd. Do I have a motion?
I'll move we approve.
Second? I'll second. All right, let's take a vote.
Thank you. Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Whalen,
Abstain due to absence?
Board Member Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member Black is absent, Board Member Noon,
Yes.
Board Member Six,
Yes.
and Board Member Soffren.
Abstain?
Motion passes. Thank you.
And then can we move on to ratification of action taken on the consent calendar for today?
Yes, thank you, Chair Anderson. Today, we had 217 South Milpas for project design and final approval, both of which were approved for PDA and final approval. Item 2, 406 and 408 North Quarantina Street was scheduled just for concept review, and that was continued indefinitely to the staff hearing officer for review and approval of a performance standard permit. And 921 Medio Road was here for project design and final approval, and that was also granted project design and final approval today as well. So, thank you.
Excuse me, but Medio Road isn't on my agenda.
Right, so there is an issue with the agenda today. We might need to ratify this with admin staff, but I did want to just go on the record and notify it today, so it was an error in the agenda. We might need to announce it once more. I don't know how it's going to go. I just wanted to put that on record today, that it was heard at consent calendar today and did receive project design and final approval, and that was for 921 Medio Road.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. And just to clarify, please go ahead and vote on ratification on that item, and then if we do need to bring it back to you, we will let you know at the next meeting.
Okay, do I have a motion?
So ratified?
Second.
All right, so let's take a vote.
Thank you, Chair Anderson. Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Whalen,
Yes?
Board Member Anderson,
I'm sorry, can we just clarify what this vote is on?
This is for ratification on the actions taken at the consent meeting today.
And they are up there, or are they?
No, I've read them
You
out.
read them out. So the first one had PDA and final. I think the second one also had,
Was continued to show.
okay.
And then the last one, 921 Media Road, was scheduled for project design and final approval, and was also granted project design and final approval.
Abstain, thanks.
Board Member Black is absent, Board Member Noon,
Yes.
Board Member Six,
Yes.
and Board Member Soffren.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
And just for reference, who is on consent right now?
So it was Board Member 6 and Board Member Noon today.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item F, announcements, requests by applicants for continuances and withdrawals, future agenda items, or appeals.
We have one announcement today, or maybe two.
Thank you, Chair Anderson. Just a couple staff announcements, and these are in response to questions I've received from board members recently. I just wanted to make a couple clarifications on process, and if we need to have a future training on this, please let me know during this announcement, and we can schedule that. The first is regarding voting at final approval. And there were some questions about how should you vote for final approval if you voted one way for project design approval. So the standard of review for final approval is whether or not the plans substantially conform to the plans that receive project design approval. This is in the ABR guidelines. And your final approval vote should be based on whether the plans substantially conform. And this vote can differ from how you voted at project design approval. For example, you may vote to deny PDA and approve final if you can find that the final plan substantially conform to PDA. If you're uncomfortable voting to grant final approval on a project where you've voted to deny PDA, you may abstain from the vote and still count toward quorum. However, if your abstention leads to a tie vote and you're the tiebreaker at the next motion, your charge is to just consider the project through the lens of that substantial conformance to project design approval. So let me know if that makes sense. I can send a follow-up email. And the second announcement or process note is regarding individual comments and just a question about how to handle disagreements among the board members and how to sort of facilitate these conversations where not all members might be in alignment. It is the chair's role, and this chair in particular does a really good job, I think, at facilitating the conversation and trying to help board members, kind of come to a consensus, or where there is no consensus, at least communicate generally where the board stands to the applicant. The goal with making a motion and making your comments is to really clarify for the record a board's thoughts on a project. So disagreement among experts like yourselves is okay. It's part of serving on an advisory board. It is the chair's role to facilitate a fair comment, fair comments, and to note if there are individual comments that differ from kind of what the rest of the board said, to have those included in the motion as well. Just as the board voted this way, however, this board member felt strongly that X, Y, and Z, that's just, that can be helpful if, most or all board members agree on something, but one or two don't. And it's for the same reason that you might, or that we require you to say why you vote no if you do vote no for something. All right, and we can schedule a training on other matters, or anything you'd like in the near future. Feel free to let me know if you'd like that now, or you can email me separately.
I have a question. If the maker of the motion adequately describes the minority opinion, does the staff still need to have the minor opinion holders express directly their opinion?
Thank you, Board Member 6. Through the chair, not necessarily. If the comments adequately capture what the board was feeling, if the comments read something like, some board members felt that this, while most board members felt that the other thing, then that's acceptable. And, it's up to the person who, may want to make individual comments to request those be added to the end of the motion.
Okay. But we should leave our feelings out of it. We didn't feel that.
That's correct. It should be your thoughts, your expert opinions.
And I, for one, am in favor of trainings. I don't think we get enough. It allows us to explore a number of topics that really aren't that clear in the guidelines, that we can express our own interpretations. Thank you.
And since you're here, could you just touch base on review after final, since that's our next item, on what we look at and what we can comment on in review after final?
Sure. The standard of review for review after final is, again, did the plan substantially conform to the project design approval? So
Okay.
you would be looking at the previously approved plans, which will have already been determined to be in substantial conformance, and make those findings, essentially.
And you can comment on things that haven't been changed, or only on things that have been changed?
Only things that have been changed, only things that are proposed under that review after final request.
Okay, thank you.
So how does that work then? Say you vote no in the early stages of the design process, and you're going into project design approval. What are you now? You're basically voting against yourself if you're only reviewing it for what the rest of your, what the rest of the board has approved. Is that what you're saying?
Board Member Anderson, not exactly. I think I probably should schedule a training on this. We are well over time for general business, but if you want, I can follow up with you individually on that, but I would also like to schedule a training to just go over general ABR things. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to subcommittee reports. I don't think so. Okay. Let's move on to item 1, 501 Ninos Drive. It's Dwight Murphy Field. They're here for review after final. Review after final is requested for revisions to the Gwendolyn's Playground area at the corner of Por Lamar and Ninos Drive, and for inclusion of a pedestrian entry archway between the north parking lot and the multi-use field. The Ty Warner Sports Complex lettering within the arch is under sign committee purview. Plans must be in substantial conformance with the plans that received final approval on October 2nd, 2023. All right, well, welcome back. Do we have something from staff?
I really don't.
Okay.
The project description covers what we're
Okay.
here for today. Thank you.
Welcome back, and please introduce yourself, and you'll have 15 minutes. Yeah, there you go.
Sorry, Madam Chair, I'm just making sure do we have the 2023 plans?
We do, so there's a second PDF plan there, and those are gonna be, so just hover over the Adobe thing to the right of the Teams channel, and then there's those full plans there.
So that would be the current plans?
Oh, wait, sorry, I might have opened up the wrong one. Yeah, those current plans are the review after final plans that, we were submitted for some other things, but I can pull up on the ones that, do you want me to pull up the 2023 plans?
No, I think I can probably use these. I'm just, yeah.
I do, those are those, so, yeah, those are the final plans that were submitted for the removal of the baseball field and some other of those minor details that happened in 2025. Is that fine? Do you want me to find those?
That works.
Okay.
Sorry. Thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, my name is Justin Van Mullum. I'm here with the Parks and Recreation Department. I am their capital projects supervisor. Also in the audience is Holly Garson, our project planner. So I kind of wanted to start with kind of an overview of the project. This is pretty exciting. We don't get to do these type of projects very often. The last one I think was seen in front of a board like this in 1994, and it was the Chase Palm Park expansion. So this is the Dwight Murphy renovation project, and it has a few different components. It has a synthetic turf field, the very first one that the city will have, and has an outdoor fitness center, a nice natural lawn area for drop-in play, and probably the most accessible playground that Santa Barbara has ever done. So, and it has a long history. I don't know if you've been following it, but it also comes with a magic tree house that's 3 stories that you will see in some of the exhibits. Wanted to just zoom in on. So there's 2 items that we're bringing to the board, and as you all know, once you kind of get into things and start to see things differently as you're going through construction, what we realized is that Gwendolyn's Playground had too many entrances and exits for the types of users. So, if you think of kids that wander and parents who need a break, we realized that the exit that went out of the 3-story magic treehouse and into the corner of 2 roads probably wasn't the best, taking into account the users. So we've done a redesign using the caissons that we already have installed, and I'll show you what that's going to look like, but I just want you to see that this is what we had. It was a ramp going from our third story of our treehouse and then down in with a gate past the fence and into the front. And then coming over to, so this, if I kind of orient you, coming in, and if you were to Google this and you're coming through, it would bring you to 501 Ninos Drive, go right past the zoo entrance, and you'd come through our parking lot, and you'd start to look for a parking space. And we didn't really have anything to show you where the entry was of this field, which a lot of people are going to be coming to for the first time. And so we had an opportunity to create some type of entry element that you can see from when you come past the zoo. And I'll show you that archway on the plan. So let me transition. The only other things I wanted to show you that we have a restroom building here, which we moved out of the flood way and into the floodplain, CMU block building that is under construction. And so those are the main elements. So if I go to our 2026 plans. So now that entrance is a overlook. It's level, it comes out of the third story playground, and it's kind of a perch. It gives you the ability to sit down and relax, but if you are a child that wanders, it doesn't really give you an opportunity to escape into the street. And just to give you a couple different dimensions, this is 12 feet from the sidewalk here. This is 26 feet from the sidewalk here. And then from this point, it's 16 feet. This view platform, as we call it, is about 4 feet on the front and off the finished grade, and 5 feet in the back. So here you see the view platform, just past the sidewalk, kind of into the trees, and there's the landscape plan. We took out 1 windmill palm and 2 king palms and replaced it with a 72-inch box African coral tree, really trying to get that mature tree there to kind of blend in the magic tree house that you see in the back. Here's a view from the third story of the magic tree house looking down on the view platform, and you can see parking on Ninos and the corner, and this is Port Lamar coming around. And that gives you an idea of like the 4 feet and the 5 feet in that coral tree. And here's a view from the corner, and you can see that one of the things we did is we moved the sign out of the right-of-way and we put it where the entrance used to be. So kind of as you get to that corner, you really see the Dwight Murphy Field sign. And here, here's the old perspective from that same vantage point. You can see that we had the slope down and we had the butterfly gate, and then there was the sign. This is just to show you the bench that's going to be in the view platform. And let's see, I'm going to go to so here's a different element. Due to some budgetary issues, we had an opportunity for naming the field, and Ty Warner did step in with a $5 million check with the opportunity. As I was talking before, the field was hard to find when you drove in if you were a first-time visitor. It was just a rolling gate that was 6 feet tall. It all matched. So there wasn't really any element that brought you there. So we had an opportunity to name the field Ty Warner Sports Complex, and also help people find it, a wayfinding element that you typically do with architecture. So right here you can see an element. It's an archway that has more of a human scale to it. And this is, you could drive past the zoo, like I was saying on the old set of plans. And let's Control Z. So I'll go back and I'll show you the architecture. The only architecture on the site is the restroom building. And what we've done is we've really used elements of that restroom building and tried not to reinvent the wheel, using the same kind of tile details, wrought iron, more traditional wrought iron work. And if you note, these column caps have a terracotta tile on top of them, and that's important for a detail that we have in the parapet of the restroom building. So it's pretty simple, has a naming opportunity, more human scale. It's about 12 feet wide, which still gives us access if we needed it for a small emergency vehicle, if there was ever an issue to get onto the field. And we've got that height as well, but really trying to keep it as human scale as possible. Very traditional detailing with your column caps and your base. I'm gonna go back and see if I can. I don't think the set of plans have the restrooms, but I do have a copy of them here. And this is just to kind of show how we didn't want to reinvent the wheel with this architectural entry element. So we really looked to the detailing that was already taking place on site with the restroom building. And one of the things that is not as easy to see, but that that parapet, the sawtooth parapet that you see on the Santa Barbara Junior High, that fun little detail is also on that parapet of the restroom, and it has a terracotta cap. So we've kind of tried to do that same thing with the column caps, having a terracotta detail, having that Malibu style tile, and the much more traditional ornamental iron. Those are the two main changes that we've made, Madam Chair, in my presentation. But just one last thing. We started construction in June of 2025, and even with the rains and Lake Dwight Murphy that happened in November, we are still on schedule to complete the project in spring of 2027. Very exciting.
Great, well, thank you. We will open up public comment for item number 1.
Thank you, Chair Anderson. Starting with in-person public comment, if there's anyone in the room who'd like to speak on this item, please step to the podium and fill out a speaker slip. Not seeing any movement, and then we do not have any virtual participants right now, and we did not receive any written correspondence, so I'll turn it back to you. Thank you, Chair Anderson.
Okay, we'll close public comment for item 1 and go to questions from the board. Board Member Noon, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Board Member Anderson?
Are there any precedents you looked at for this?
Madam Chair, Chair Anderson, Commissioner Anderson, yes, there's several different styles in Spanish colonial architecture in Spain and in Santa Barbara, and it's just kind of a combination. I mean, we didn't just take like the entryway to Hope Ranch and try to mimic it. Obviously, there was just a lot of different entrances that we saw that were for more residential homes, and we really wanted to try to keep it as human scale as possible and not overwhelm the site.
But for the playground design, the playground itself, what precedents did you look at? Or
Can you
is,
be more specific on what part of the playground? Like the-
can you show me the site plan, please?
If you were to hit Control 0, then it would go to back to full screen, and then it would make this go on.
Thank you.
So can you just point out all the scope of new work?
I'd be happy to. Madam Chair, members of the board, there's 2 locations that we have changes, and they're minor in scope. One is the entry element that we just discussed that gives us the ability to name this project. I forgot to mention, but we had an MOU with the Ty Warner Group that went to City Council, and so as part of this MOU, this entry element was reviewed by City Council and it was approved. And so that entry element happens right here.
And these are the old plans, so the new plans would show.
So this was what was approved, and they're adding an archway right there.
That's the entire scope of
No,
work?
that's one item.
That's the first item. The second item is at the corner of Niños and Por Lamar. So the approved plans have a ramp coming from the 3rd story of the Magic Tree House and goes down, levels out, and has a gate and an entry element and comes out to the sidewalk. And so we've, after restudying safety issues, we decided that's probably not a good idea. So we looked at opportunities and came up with a view overlook.
Okay. So there's no, like, accessible site improvements or anything? I thought I heard you mention something about.
The whole site is accessible, and the
Already.
playground is, we have, believe it or not, we have a ramp with handrails that is less than 8% that corkscrews all the way up to the 3rd story of the Magic Tree House.
Okay. I'm just trying to understand, make sure I know.
The
what
contractors
scope
are
of work is.
cursing us because it's
I'm sure.
next to impossible to build, but it's going to be so cool.
Okay, so, like that dark line in the lower left around all that walkway, that's over on the bottom left-hand side where keep going to the left. Left. That's not new, even though it's dark black.
That's, I'm sorry, that's the area of work. So that really dark dashed line is just the area of work.
Yeah, I got that. What I'm reading your plan is what's grayed out is
So
existing.
this was
what's-
the old plan.
I'm sorry, yeah, let me go back. We don't have an overall site plan that shows the whole site with so I'm using the 1925 plan, which is what you're looking at here. So let me go back to.
And just to clarify for the board today, the review after final is requested for revisions to the Gwendolyn's playground area at the corner of Por Lamar and Niños Drive for inclusion of a pedestrian entry archway between the north parking lot and the multi-use field, and the Ty Warner Sports Complex lettering within the arch under sign committee purview. But so really, the only purview you have today is the corner for this new addition to the playground and the sign itself. So any other thing that's on the plan, that's all been approved.
I see, okay.
So it's literally just the
sign in the entry.
Yes,
I
correct.
wasn't sure because there's just so much information in here, and it's like gray is existing and black is the new, so, okay.
Yes, so if we've got the red cloud here that shows the entry element on this, and these are the new plans, the 2026 that are being presented, and then then you can see that's the entry
Okay.
Or that's the, I'm sorry, view platform. And I think we have a different, yeah, there we go. There's the view platform. Zoom in on it. You can see that it's fairly small, 12 feet by 15 feet. We've got bench, and we have our companion seating on both sides for wheelchair.
I see. Okay. What's the material?
Material matches all the existing material, so we didn't change it. So it's all the handrails and our guardrails in this case are steel, galvanized steel and painted, and then the boardwalk is a faux wood.
I think there's a nice rendering that would be helpful to show.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. No materials were changed.
Vice Chair Whalen?
Yes, thank you. I got a little confused, Mr. Van Mullen. Isn't there a third change regarding the restrooms, or why were they even mentioned?
Madam Chair, Board Member Whalen, I apologize. The restrooms were only mentioned because there's no other architecture on site, and it is the only building. And so when looking at doing an entryway, we want to respect the architecture that's on site. So I wanted you to see what was approved, what it looked like, to show that it had a style that was very similar.
Very good, I understand. So to go to that signage, and we could quibble about whether it's architecture or a sign, what's the distance from the walkway to the underside of the lettering sports complex? My point being that the lettering looks very vulnerable. Now, perhaps this is a signage committee issue, but I would encourage that comment to be relayed to them.
So I mean, I could also take it over too. There's a park project right over here that has the same lettering, and it's unfortunately completely out of your control. It's under sign committee purview, so
Right.
the lettering
the
itself
size of
is,
lettering,
the size of lettering, the type of it, the construction of it, all it falls underneath sign committee purview. But the architectural archway itself
Right,
is,
okay.
yeah, sorry.
My point being that the lettering looked very vulnerable in that some basketball type person could jump up, hang on to the letters, and dispose of them. So my question was, what's the different distance from the walkway to the underside of the letters? But not to belabor the point, staff can take that comment to the sign committee. My other comment or question has to do with the revised ramp. It retains all of its rampy slope down to the new observation point, which is level. Are those safe assumptions? Or did the whole ramp level change?
Madam Chair, Board Member Wayland, we had an opportunity to not have handrails on this boardwalk. It's no longer a sloped walkway or a ramp. It is level, and that gave us, we were looking at, we wanted to, when you got to this view perch or platform, we wanted it to be about 4 feet off the ground, so you felt like you were in the trees. And so that's why we leveled it out, since it no longer was an exit or an entrance.
So it's level from the tree out to the observation point. And are there other landscape additions besides that erythrina, the coral tree? Or is it just the one tree?
That's the major.
Okay.
That's the major one, the 72-inch box African coral tree.
All right, those are my questions. Thank you.
Do you want to answer how high it is from the ground right now? Since you have that dimension up there, can answer his question.
Yes, so the arch, what we did is let's see, I can zoom in, make sure I don't misrepresent anything. So here's 12 feet from, so there's 9 and then there's another 2. So it's maybe 10 feet to here, 11 feet to here.
Okay, Board Member 6?
Yes, just if the entry at the pointy corner is closed, where does one go to get the entry if you're at that pointy corner? How far away is the next exit, entry?
Madam Chair, Board Member 6, this has been studied, and think about it, if you are a parent, you need a break. You have a kid that wanders, you want to have a location where you can see all the exits. That's what we've learned. So this right here is kind of a picnic area. You have the ability to see this exit that's gated, and the ability to see this exit that's gated.
Okay,
So there are opportunities to come off of all of these parking spaces that are,
so the entry at the pointy corner was never an entry to the grand overall park, it was just entry to the kids' park.
only the entry to the, actually to the Magic Tree House.
Great, I understand, thank you.
Okay, any follow-up questions?
I have one question. What's the attachment of that cast iron to the column? You've got a gray fill. If you zoom in on that enlarged elevation of the gate, the one that says
Sports complex.
the name of the playground. There we go.
We have an attachment detail. Let me zoom out.
You see, you got a 24. You got a 2.0 dimension on a gray rectangle. There we go.
Yeah. Very traditional way of connecting a piece of metal so that happens. It's fairly robust, and we've used it before successfully.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, let's go to comments. Board Member Noon?
Would just add that I'm supportive of the changes that you've made. I think I appreciate you bringing in the bathroom to identify that, to tie that architecture with the arch. I think it's acceptable. I think most definitely the observation platform is a better idea than just dumping out on the corner. So I'm supportive of the changes. Thank you.
Board Member Anderson?
Just from a design perspective, I think it's kind of extravagant, and it feels like there's a lot going on, but I'm overall somewhat agnostic to the project as a whole. But the feeling I have, like the curves in the cast iron, it's not exactly modest. It's very kind of all over the place. And I think, in terms of a local vernacular, I actually think if you look at like something like, like the post office here, or like the presidio, it's actually a very kind of modest architecture. It's not so extravagant. And so I do kind of see a little bit of this feels a little bit out of left field for me. But yeah, I'm kind of a little bit neutral on this too. So.
Okay, Vice Chair Whalen?
I think the proposals are perfectly reasonable, and I commend the 72-inch box of the coral tree. I think that'll be an outstanding feature.
Board Member Six?
I have no problems with the changes. I think they're smart. I do sympathize with board member, what's his? Anderson, thank you. Wrought iron comment, but I don't think it's enough to have it go anywhere, so.
Great. I also think it's a very thoughtful change and integrated into the design well, and I can support it in the coral trees. A great add. Who would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that the committee approves of these changes after final approval.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Can we add that there was some discussion about the ornateness of the wrought iron, but it wasn't enough to sway the approval?
Or consider simplifying it
And,
or something?
and then Board Member Whalen also had brought up a point about the dexterity of the sign maybe as well. So I don't know, you can include that in the motion if you want, but
Certainly, I find member 6's addition acceptable, and I would also add that the lettering be less accessible or less vulnerable, shall we say, to the jumping crowd.
11 feet? You gonna jump 11 feet?
I don't know, it's for the designer to resolve the issue, it's not for us to resolve.
You can jump 11 feet.
He used to.
Oh. Okay,
Through
let's
the
take it.
chair, I just
Okay.
want to clarify, less vulnerable to,
There-
to a
To-
human
To
to jump.
vandalism.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes. All right, let's take a vote.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and proceed with the roll call vote. Chair Anderson.
Yes.
Vice Chair Whalen.
Yes?
Board Member Anderson.
No.
Board Member Black is gone, sorry. Board Member Noon.
Yes.
Board Member Six.
Yes.
And Board Member Zoffrin has also left. Motion passes. Thank you.
And for the record, Board Member Anderson, if you could elaborate on your no vote, please.
Just overall, the aesthetics, especially of the cast iron, are a little bit too whimsical and kind of just, it's not a very kind of modest and subtle architectural language, in my opinion. So I thought it didn't quite feel very refined or appropriate. Whether that means appropriate to a Spanish colonial architecture or in terms of my own taste in architecture, I think it's too kind of Disneyland-ish or kind of Willy Wonka. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to take a 2-minute recess.
4:11.
you.
Thank you.
our architectural board meeting for March 16th. And just to clarify, item 1, those items were appealable. So there is a 10-day appeal period on item 1. Okay, moving on to item 2. This is a one-time pre-application consultation for 1200 Coast Village Road. Proposal for demolition of the existing building and construction of a new 4,857 square foot commercial building. The project also includes a 129 square foot trash enclosure and a 1,631 square foot solar carport. The site will provide 19 on-site automobile parking spaces, 6 bicycle parking spaces, and new landscaping improvements. This review is a one-time pre-application consultation for comments only. No final appealable decision will be made at this hearing. Project compatibility findings will be required with a submittal of a formal planning application for project design approval. Okay, well, welcome. Please.
With that, Chair, I would like to announce I had an ex parte discussion on January 28th, 2005 at noon, where these proposed plans were shown to me and elicited my initial reaction by Mr. Mark Winikoff and architect Scott Branch at a lunch site nearby.
I also have to
2025?
announce. I also have to announce the same type of ex parte meeting with the same, I don't remember the exact date, but same party, same reason.
It wasn't in 25, like I said, it's 26.
2026. Okay, good. Got some clarification. Okay, well, welcome. Please introduce yourselves. You'll have 15 minutes to present.
Thank you, Board Chair Anderson. My name is Mark Winikoff. I'm the managing member of Bixel and Court LLC. Scott Branch is the architect, and Joe Fiss is the planner on this project. So we really appreciate all of you being here today and making the time to hear what we have to say, and so that we can tell our story. I came to Santa Barbara exactly 50 years ago, and it went really fast. And at that time, Coast Village Road was somewhere in between Milpas Street and what Coast Village Road is now. It's hard to imagine. Gas stations, motor court hotels, neighborhood food shops, mom and pop restaurants, barbecue joints, liquor stores, auto and truck repair, construction yards, a brothel, and a nursery. It was pretty extraordinary in terms of like a piece of sort of adjacent urban fabric. And it was just a few years after it became Coast Village Road. It used to be Highway 1. It was El Camino Real. It was where everybody had to go. There was, in the Montecito Journal, September 10th, 2015, they described Coast Village Road as a haphazard highway pit stop. And that there was a plan put together by the architect Cheryl Brody of Forms and Surfaces fame and Michael Tobes, who no one needs to, he does not need an introduction. And they put together this master plan for the street, which is what we have now, planning with the parking, the median, and that sort of thing. And that was when the street began to change, and it was rough and tumble, really. Even when I was here, it was rough and tumble, and it's progressed. It's become something else now, and what it is today. So, me and my team looked at the street, walked the street, looked at the history of the street, and we wanted to know what is the genius loci. What is the spirit of this place? You know, what has gone on here over the last 100 years? You know, pretty much since the train showed up, and 150 years. So what we arrived at, we go, what's existing? What is still here from the beginning of this road as a thoroughfare? So what we arrived at is we went down to the train bridge, which is going to be destroyed in the next 1 to 2 years. And we think of that as a piece of industrial architecture. It's utilitarian, but it was all made by hand. Board form concrete, nailed together, steel beams, plates, which were hand forged in forgeries. There were forges, probably in LA or up north. They weren't forged here, that's for sure, and they were shipped. And then these constructions, I imagine, because of everybody's architectural background, you're familiar with hot riveted rivets. And these plates are put in place, and there's a guy at the rivet oven, and he takes the hot rivets out, he takes a tong, throws it to a guy who has something like a baseball mitt. He catches it, puts it in his hand, and then there's a guy standing there with a hot rivet gun. So this is really, the train bridge was handmade, really. And then there are also wood components of the bridge holding the ballast in place, the railroad ties. So we thought, this is something that, this is the spirit of the place, and it's going to disappear in the next year or two. So that was our vocabulary. Another component of the architectural vocabulary, which has pretty much disappeared, is all the gas stations throughout Santa Barbara and throughout California, and probably throughout the whole country. They used plate glass steel sash. And the only existing one that's still around is at Anapamu and De La Vina Street. There used to be one way down on Castillo, but there's one way down towards the freeway. It was destroyed recently. So that was, that's what we came out in terms of our vocabulary. And we go, well, how do we put this together? And we came to, what is regional to this place? What is innate to California? I grew up in California, and my team members have as well. What is an architecture that's innate? Post and beam. I mean, all of us that have spent any time here, we experienced it in houses, in commercial buildings, in barns, and in industrial buildings. It's a common architecture which was present on the street in some form in the barns and construction yards and utility buildings that existed here. So taking our strategy, we've been approached by a lot of different people, but we're making this process our own. We're not taking in exogenous force in terms of people who are looking for commercial benefit. So we've been approached by large regional retailers, and we looked at that model, putting in a maximal project. And there's some analyses where you could push the FAR to 2.5, maybe even 3, and would take a long time and a lot of money and a lot of effort, and you end up with a building of about 35,000 feet. This site is approximately the same size as the Honor Bar site. So we looked at that, and it didn't feel right to approach that and would necessitate subterranean parking, which we don't feel is really successful in Santa Barbara. That being said, the Honor Bar project, I think, has really successful subterranean parking, and part of it is how that property relates to the grade, and it works out. They can kind of steal a story, and it actually works out really nicely. But we don't have that option. So we looked at a housing program. We need housing, but the project density would, again, it would necessitate subterranean parking. And in our analysis, we didn't really feel that Coast Village Road is really a prime housing location. We looked at it as a retail location. That's what's successful on the road. There is housing, and it functions nicely, and it's nice for the people that live there to experience the pedestrian qualities of the road. We also looked at a hotel, same issues, and the other thing that happens is the beauty of Coast Village Road is it's open, it's park-like, and if you put a hotel there, you're not going to have the benefit of those open spaces. Another building type, mixed use, same issues there, high density, it just didn't feel right. So what we did is we went for a scaled retail, and it was based on the way most people design things. What's the max parking we can get that's surface? And we thought surface parking was important because people visually connect. They see where they're going, they see where they're landing, they see how they get out of the car. That is Coast Village Road, and that's one of the reasons it's so successful, is the on-street parking It's very comfortable, it's safe, it's visual. People of all ages, people who have young children can get their kids out of the car, people who have older family members, they can come out of the car comfortably and safely. So we decided we're going to have surface parking, and then that's how we got our square footage. And then we put together our vocabulary, our building size, and this is what we came up with.
Okay.
So, Scott, do you?
I think that's exactly right. So let's walk you through. We'll walk you through what we've come up with. We'd like to start with. Let's see. Interesting. Okay. So this is a rendering of what we think our project would look like on the corner here. And one of the things that we're proud of is that it fits in with the community in general. It's one of the reasons why we, while Spanish architecture is great and there's a lot of it here, we didn't feel like this needed to be that, and it fits in much better without standing out the obvious way you can see, the white buildings with the red tile roofs. We have a lot of that, and it's often very successful, and we just didn't feel like this was another location for that.
Well, and something, if I might add, Scott, can you zoom
Yeah.
out a little bit? So if we look at the white buildings adjacent to this building, do they go with Montecito Peak? Do either of them? Or does this building go with Montecito Peak? I mean, that's part of the genesis of what we were looking at. How does this really fit into the larger landscape as well as the micro landscape?
I'm just going
Right.
to give you a little time check, so maybe.
Okay. All right. So we have a couple other renderings of what we think this demonstrates in terms of how it fits into the fabric of Coast Village Road. We've got we're right next to Bar Lou here, and I think our project fits in nicely both day and night. This actually also shows our parking coming off Coast Village Road. We've got a completely photovoltaic carport. By the way, this building is going to be completely net zero and LEED gold. This is the footprint of the existing bottle shop to be removed. And it should be noted that we took precedent with this. We wanted to retain this gable that's coming out of the existing bottle shop, and that's kind of the impetus for that. Where's our site plan?
It was a little deeper in. And also being a station, I guess.
Where's,
I think it might be down below. Keep going.
Oh, there it is.
whoa, weird. Okay. It's usually the second page, so I was thrown for a loop here. I don't know why that is. Anyway, so we wanted this to be something that kind of enhances Coast Village Road and not fights it. We wanted to have a public space. We have a gathering space outside the building. The existing footprint of the building that's currently there is here, comes all the way out almost to the street. You can see it here. As Mark mentioned, we located our parking. We located our carport, which is going to power the building completely. And then from there, we worked backwards. For years, in this southeast corner of the property, there's been a flower stand. And the footprint of that flower stand was sort of hexagonal. We took that inspiration and created this piece over here, which we call the octo, that we think adds some character to this building. This outline of the building here, this section here, and the rear of the building will be board-formed concrete. The rest of it will be post and beam with what will look like wide flanges, but it's actually a couple of C channels that we've put together with a thermal break to make this building energy efficient. We've had some engineers analyze this so that we could take the science off the table when we came to you guys, and we're on track for LEED Gold and net zero, as I mentioned. One of the happy accidents that we have here is these lower two photos are the existing foliage that's behind the building. And since our building is going to back up to the property, that existing row of Eugenia is going to be able to screen the back of our building from the hotel behind us. It's weird, this is kind of a backwards set. Let me go back to the renderings that we have. So it's a single-story building. We've got eight 8-foot overhangs that help shade the glass from this building. It's going to be so well lit from daylight, and it's going to be a really enjoyable place to either work or, you know, this could be a restaurant, this could be an office, this could be retail. We've really designed it to be as flexible as it could be for the use that it could be. Here you can see the concrete board, the board formed concrete form, our octo. We've taken great care in terms of how we've done our fenestration with the metalwork. We've created a second floor mezzanine, which we feel kind of activates it with.
You think you can wrap up in like 2 minutes?
Yeah, absolutely. Which we think relates it to Coast Village Road, and just real quickly, here's our floor plan, which can be divided up a number of ways. It could be a single tenant, it could be 4 tenants. We've really tried to make this as flexible as possible. You can see our mezzanine up top and open to below. Our roof plan, we're going to be able to hide all our roof equipment up top, so you're not going to see any down below. Here are our elevations, so you can see the post and beam vernacular. We're also going to have this right here, we're going to have some custom bronze reliefs that are inspired from the Cheryl Brody's forms and surfaces, which we're going to have made and put onto the building. So this is just kind of we wanted to be able to have the board take a look and kind of get your take on it. Here is our carport. It's going to be fully solar. And we just kind of wanted to get the temperature of the board on this to be able to get your reaction to it before we create a formal submittal.
Great, thank you. Okay.
And I was just one sentence, just as we've gone through here, we've made sure that it does comply with the municipal code, so.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, we will open up public comment for item number 2.
Thank you, Chair Anderson. So starting with in-person public comment, I do have one speaker slip for Hunter Turpin. Hunter, if you'd like to come up to the podium and then make sure the green light is on. Perfect. And you'll have 2 minutes to speak.
Good to go. Okay, Madam Chair, members of the committee, thank you so much for having me. My name's Hunter Turpin. I'm a lifelong resident of Santa Barbara area, born and raised here in town, and blessed and grateful enough to be back here raising my family these days. I work in real estate, and I'm an owner of the neighboring property to 1200 on Coast Village Road, where the Clark's Restaurant property is, and then the old motel there. So we border, kind of wrap to the east and the north, 1200. I also manage the property on behalf of our ownership group, so I'm very much actively involved on the street and with everything going on in and around our respective parcels. So with that, and on behalf of myself and the ownership group, just wanted to voice our strong enthusiastic support for the project. I've gotten to know Mark and the developer through the course of being their neighbors and have grown to really appreciate our relationship. And I can speak to the care and thoughtfulness that they put into the projects they do. They do beautiful work. As you can tell, the kind of the thoughtfulness, the ability to blend history with contemporary design, all the little aspects, the story behind the building, I think really resonate and make for a special project. I'd say we also very much appreciate the low-density design. I think it really fits the street. The pedestrian experience, it's not too imposing. I think it would be a great fit for the neighborhood. It's a new, creative, innovative direction, but the way it blends, the history of the area, I think it's a makings of a new pillar for the street, and as a resident, somewhere I want to visit as well. So with that, appreciate your time, and I urge you to support the project.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I do not have any more speaker slips. Turning to virtual, we don't have any virtual participants right now either. We did receive 38 submissions for public comment for this item. In the interest of time, I won't name them off one by one, but I will have them included in the minutes for the record. And with that, I'll turn it back to you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. We will close public comment, and I will say it was nice to see supportive letters versus the opposite. Okay, so let's move into questions from the board. Vice Chair Whalen, would you like to begin with questions?
Sure. First off, could you talk some more, Mr. Branch, Mr. Winikoff, about your color palette and materials, exactly what they are, what your hopes to express?
Well, we wanted to do, we liked the concept of the steel being, a dark kind of a bronze color. We feel that is has an elegance to it. It lends itself to the bronze shade that we're going to need in our windows to help the energy efficiency. And then a darker roof. It helps it blend in. We think it gives elegance. It works. It ties into a lot of the iron that you see in old turn of the century structures, turn of the 20th century structures, and we think it goes well with the board form concrete. It's sort of it's in the earth tone palette, and we like that.
And sure, Mark.
Thank you. Also, we feel it's an excellent backdrop for the landscape, that it blends in, and the micro landscape, and then also the big landscape of the hills behind. It's really part of this area when what is in between this building and the mountains was oak trees and creeks and rocks, and we feel that this is it's a color palette that is complementary to that.
So the board form concrete, does that have any tint to it?
We haven't studied that yet. So far in our concepts, it's been rather natural, but.
And then to another topic with Mr. Winikoff touched on, many of the letters talked about the landscaping, and from what you've presented and what we were given, there's really no indication of what the landscape materials are or what that might do or be. Can you talk any more about the landscape at this point? Or?
Yeah, I thought we had submitted a landscape plan.
I did not see it.
To be honest.
Anybody else? Okay. Frequently, it's just me.
Maybe you can just talk about it for now. Oh,
We
a
can
whole
pass
plan.
it amongst
good.
the board members.
Yeah.
Well, we'll put it on the overhead camera.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Yeah. Put it there.
City TV, can we have the overhead cam? Thank you.
Yeah.
And they'll zoom in. If you could provide some narrative.
Yeah, mostly native drought-tolerant plants. Our landscape architect was Aaron Carroll, and we engaged him right out of the gate to help us design this. And in fact, he and Mark went over a lot of the, some of the palms that they had there for the landscaping, not only to tie into what we're doing, but also there's a fair amount of landscaping that's existing behind and to the northwest. So they took great care to kind of marry the two and make something that's pedestrian friendly and drought tolerant as well.
And something else in regards to the landscape, the hardscape is well, the building is pulled back from the street, and that's, a semi-public area where people can do things outside, and that's one of the things we found on Coast Village, which is super successful, is when buildings pull back and there's an area for people to congregate, things happen and people hang out. So we've created that small, well, it's not small, it's like 800 square feet, the patio there in front of the building, off the corner. The commercial brokers said, go to the corner, go hard, put lots of glass in, but our inclination was, no. We want to bring people in, we want them to be comfortable, we wanted to integrate.
Well, thank you. That answers my next question, because many of the letters referred to a pedestrian experience. From my point of view, that would have been from the public walkway, but as you have explained, it's on site.
Yeah.
Those are my questions. Thank you.
Right. And I might point out about the landscaping and grading and drainage is also designed to be consistent with the LEED Gold standards.
Okay, Board Member 6, questions?
Yes, thanks. So if I understand from the aerials that there's, and with the exception of when you get around the back side of the property at Middle Road, there's no street trees along Coast Village, correct? Existing street trees?
Correct.
Okay, thanks. This is kind of a leading question. I sure would like to see a tree in parking space, a canopy tree in parking space 7 or 8 in back of the it's a beautiful, crisp form, but is there any way to reconfigure the handicap ramp to pull that one row of parking out closer to the street and provide a finger and therefore a tree in the backmost part of the backmost couple of parking spaces?
We could look at that once we get into the formal process, but the parking is set up the way it is because of the city's parking standards require a certain throat depth to get to the parking, which we just barely meet right now, so it's pretty sandwiched in there.
Okay, so you can't move it further.
Right, not at the moment.
Not at the moment. Okay. Can the 2 compact spaces that are indicated on the row against the building, can they be combined and, do you have a site plan? I'm thinking that there'd be opportunity if there's 2 compact spaces, you might be able to utilize the shorter aspect of the turnaround and the spaces to widen your sidewalk at the entry. Do you understand what I'm saying? That
I do. We have
the compacts wouldn't have to pull in as far.
We do have 1 compact on this side, and we've got 4 over on this side.
Don't you have another 2 compacts, 6 and 4?
So
You might want just.
yeah.
My question is, there's no, that might be, you might be able to look at that, correct?
We can study that for sure.
All right. Now, I heard the word restaurant, and I'm concerned about if it does become a restaurant, have you thought about the restaurant functions along Middle Road, and maybe you could explain the Middle Road street configuration. It seems like the curb dies at the property line, then there's a green space outside. What's going on there, and have you thought about a restaurant function and back of house and blah, blah, blah?
Well, yeah, we have, and we've gone through a couple of iterations where back of house would probably be in this area and maybe utilized somewhere in here. And the middle road, this apron currently takes up almost this whole swath. So the gray areas here.
So the light green is the apron, correct, is what you're saying?
The white here is going to be our apron. This area here, this gray area, and this gray area here are areas we would like to landscape and fill in, but technically that's not our property. So
So you have no control.
So we don't have control over that yet, but that could be a part of our project.
All right,
So
I get it.
we'd like it to be, but, so we decided to reduce all that concrete to the extent that we could, so we could get more landscaping on our site here.
Mm-hmm.
That's in, Richard, Middle Road that's really the service entrance. That's where the garbage is. And Scott
Yes.
assiduously has coordinated with Marburg to get the grade right.
Okay.
So
So there is a grade issue back there as Middle Road goes up.
Yeah, Middle Road slopes up, and
Okay.
so,
Just for simplicity's sake, you couldn't approach the trash directly straight in from where it's facing, correct?
No,
Correct.
no, it's too.
No, there's
It's
a-
all up and down and so
yeah,
forth?
oh yeah, there's
Okay.
probably a four
I get
or
it.
5 foot
I
grade
get it.
differential back there.
Okay. Just one more item. I mentioned that the hardscape in front of, between your octagon and
This area?
Coastville, yes, that's a meeting area?
Well, it's just open permeable pavers surrounded by some landscaping, so
Okay,
just has possibility.
yeah,
We
I
don't-
guess I understand. I'll have a comment on it later. So those are my questions, thanks.
Board Member Anderson, questions?
All right. So in the site plan, can you quickly describe the approach to the building, the primary approach from the public in your eyes?
From here?
Yeah, or if people are walking down.
Yeah, if you're walking down here, we're up about 3 feet. So you're going to go up 6 risers here, or you can come up this slope. Not steep enough to be a ramp, so there's no handrails or anything. And there'll be landscaping within these planters such that, it'll feel like, a way that would be more inviting to get up there. You'll have some, obviously landscaping sloped here. You will have steps here with a handrail. You'll have a couple of steps here with handrails. But we liked the access of this coming right up here, and then we liked the idea of having the bicycle parking here, so people, you come in off the street, boom, and your parking's right there, and then you have access to the building.
Okay, and then in terms of the use, the programming, you did speak about that, but what is it? I guess I'm just kind of wondering, like, what's in the octagon, or like what are these different spaces? How do they function?
Well, the
socially?
octagon could be, if it's a restaurant, that's a great place for dining. If it's an office, that's a great place for a conference room.
It's retailing, it's a storefront. I mean, we tried to create a relatively generic shell, let's say, for anything within the C1 zone. That was our objective.
Okay, all right.
And there's also, as part of the LEED Gold designation, there's a shower for the inhabitants of the building, the people that work there. They can ride their bikes to work. And that's an important component of that. And as Scott mentioned, the drainage, there's retainage, holding tanks underneath the parking to mitigate the street drainage.
I see. Okay, and then, are the rivets performing a function, or are they purely a nod toward the railroad history?
Likely both, because as I mentioned, you have two C channels sandwiched together, and so the attachment, they might likely not need as many as we're showing, but we like the rhythm of them. But yeah, they will be functional.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Is there, on that little plan, is there the,
I could see the
did you
details
see-
for that.
did you see-
That's why I was curious, yeah. They're in here somewhere.
I thought I had, so
there you go.
that's why I was surprised that.
Okay, and
It's a good question.
regarding, let's flip to that render of the drone's eye, the aerial view that shows this corner, please. So what about, right around here, this one, there we go.
This one right here?
Yeah, this is a good one. So, let's zoom in a little bit there. So, okay, why the curb? The concrete curb at the base of there we go, right there, yeah.
The little wainscot?
Mm-hmm.
Just because we felt it kind of helped anchor the building. It also tied into the board-formed form over here. It added some visual anchorage, we thought.
Yeah, and it picks up the line, the bottom of the door for accessibility. We lined up with that, and also it gave the opportunity for planting, because if you have glass right up against planting, that doesn't really work. So it gave us the opportunity to plant on the perimeter. And the renderings aren't really showing all of the landscape. It was done at an earlier time in the process, but as you saw in the plan, it's denser than it looks here.
And inside the building, there will be, the ceiling and the floor will both be wood, is the concept.
And the deck, and then the handrails. So
Yeah.
there is a soft component of this that isn't so evident necessarily from the outside, but you will see the bottom of the roof, which will be wood.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then in terms of, so this plaza, so this will be the cobblestone plaza, the pavers. So in terms of the interface between the interior, what you're calling the atria, the interior of the primary volume, how do you see people accessing that plaza? Or is that plaza somewhere people would just kind of like hang out from the street primarily?
It could be both. There's right here is a door that accesses it from this side, and then this front door accesses it from the south side. So there's a couple ways to get to it.
Okay. And if you can please flip to the front elevation, the gable elevation, or one of the ones that shows one of the corner elevations. Not the back elevation.
Oh, got you.
No.
Like that?
Yeah. This is fine. So what's the head height on the doors there? There we go.
10 feet?
Okay. And that's consistent across all the glass doors, or 10?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, head height there's,
Okay. I think that's all my questions for now. Thanks.
Board Member Noon?
Thank you. The mezzanine, I assume that's public use space?
Mhm.
And have you resolved, is it going to need an elevator?
no, it's under the footage.
Okay.
If I can elaborate, I mean, public use for people who are using the building. I mean,
Right.
The concept of like a mirador of an outlook, like one of the great things, if you get on the roof of some of these buildings on Coast Village Road, is looking down the boulevard. There are balconies on Coast Village Road, but they're used for bicycles and planters and old banker boxes. So we wanted something that people can experience and really feel the boulevard. And one of the things that have come up, if we can, that we've done in exploring this project, is we went to the Montecito Association. And we know they have no regulatory power over this, but we wanted to get their feedback. And we've spoken to many people, and they said, well, one of the things that we really feel is needed is a gathering place and where people can congregate, and that's the patio. And depending on what the tenancy is, maybe at Christmas time, the parking lot's cleared out and people can congregate in the parking lot, depending on the tenancy. I don't have a crystal ball, but that would be an opportunity, because this will be the biggest parking lot on Coast Village Road that's street accessible. So it can have other uses, if we bend the rules. I know you can't make parking go away, but in terms of looking at the reality of allowing people to enjoy this open space, that's something that could happen.
But your intention is to keep it small enough to not require an elevator?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. But then allow public to access it, yeah. And then, I know this is very early, but the thickness of the roof, all that's been at least some,
It's been
head
engineered.
scratching.
We didn't want to come to you with a pie-in-the-sky project like, oh, this is great, and sketch it up. I mean, we probably went beyond what most people would do at this phase, but we wanted to give you something.
And at the time of this rendering, it'll probably be a little bit thicker than that, but at this phase, we had designed it where, the roof would be thicker on the interior where the insulation needs to be, but then, we wanted a thinner profile as it cantilevered out past it. So at this phase, that's where we were at. As we've kind of studied a little more, it might be a couple inches thicker on the exterior, but we've got all the steel members coming out that are on top of the steel trusses inside, picking up that cantilever.
And just as background in terms of it being a crafted building, we've spoken with a local window fabricator that does this kind of stuff. Like we're not shipping this out to the Bay Area or LA. This is going to be a local outfit that we've been working with to make this happen.
Okay. That's all I have for now.
Okay, I had a couple questions. Did you find it necessary to have both of those ramps and both sets of stairs, or did you consider just kind of minimizing it to one access point?
When you say both ramps,
Well, it looked like there was one from the west side, yeah. What's that?
that's really just a walkway. It's not really a ramp. It's just a walkway to get over here, just sort of pedestrian access, which we thought would be, as we were looking at it, if we don't do that and this is all landscape, then you really can't, if you're on the exterior, you can't walk over there.
And if the building's divided and you have to take the garbage out, we wanted to make access so you could
Right.
access the whole site.
Okay.
But this is really the only sloped bit of concrete.
Okay, and then unfortunately I didn't look at the details, but is the glass in line with the structural members, or is it like offset? Is it all one system?
It is,
Are they-
again, apologies for that not being in the set that you saw, but the glass is absolutely, some of it's in line, some of it's offset a little bit. It kind of depends on, it has different scenarios, but
Okay. And then on one of the elevations, are you introducing glass block on, there was the west elevation
It's a
looked.
glass brick, actually.
Brick.
yeah.
I mean, not you understand the difference.
No,
Oh, glass
don't think
block
so.
is hollow, glass brick is solid.
solid, interesting, okay.
Yeah, we do have a couple of little areas on the west elevation to throw in some light.
And that's actually like what you would probably recognize, when you're in New York or even in downtown LA, when you're on a sidewalk and you see those they're round or they're square. I mean, it's a larger version of
Okay.
that.
Interesting. And then what's your intention on interior lighting? What's your thought process on the concept of that?
A little bit TBD at this point, where it's
Okay.
a pretty preliminary stage, but
We did analyze it with LEED. Is that set still around here? I don't know if there are any renderings that show we were using tubular LED light.
Oh, yeah, this set does have those.
And that'll give you an idea. Yeah, here we are. I mean, this is, there again. I mean, this gives you an idea of the palette of the material and softening it with wood.
Oh.
And then during the day, I mean, the skylights would have to be modulated with
Louvers?
louvers.
So they're
because
dropped, it's not in the ceiling? It's-
No,
No,
Yeah,
no,
that
no,
makes,
no,
okay.
no. Except the mezzanine would have downlights.
Right, okay.
And then,
Below, yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense, okay. All right, those are my questions. Follow-up questions from the board?
Yeah, I'm still after my tree. Is there,
You're gonna get a tree.
is there a way, well, it looks like they're cheek and jowl with their width of their parking lot. There's no room to get a finger. But is there a triangle above the retaining wall in the very back that could support a tree? Do you have a little sliver of land back there? Is that enough to?
no, that actually isn't art, that's the neighboring.
That's
property.
off-site.
Oh,
That's
back here.
zero, it's zero there.
okay. Thanks.
I'm glad you brought this.
Yeah.
And these are the panels. If,
That-
everybody, I imagine most of you know the Forms and Surfaces building, Berkshire's in there. So they have panels that Cheryl Brody designed with imprints on them. So what we wanted to do is, like, that's part of the spirit of the place that many people have forgotten. Like, everybody who goes around Santa Barbara and they see those rough-hewn, sandblasted wood doors with kind of that mandala sunburst, that's Cheryl Brody. So we wanted to use, we took the images from some Japanese wood blocks and made bump map images, and then these can be converted to 3D. And these
Cool.
three would be on the inside, and this would be on the outside, on the board form concrete.
Very cool. I did have one follow-up question I had just, you had mentioned there's a planter in this southeast corner that was the inspiration for the octagon, is that?
There was a woman, a very beloved woman who
Okay.
had a little flower stand for years
Okay.
and years, and she sort of had an unfortunate accident, became disabled and gave up the business. But the octagon is a gesture to remember
Got it.
her.
Okay.
In the same way that, as Scott was describing, the gable is the gas station, and, it's essentially a cruciform in the form of the gas station. So we wanted to draw all these elements, what is this place? What happened and who was here and what did they do? So, it could be, if someone opened a florist, that could be part of it.
Okay. All right, any other questions? We'll go to comments. Vice Chair Whalen? So, comments.
Thank you, Chair Anderson. First of all, I appreciate your narrative. It showed your passion and your commitment to this project from several points of view. I also found it very interesting about the Tobes master plan. That would be interesting for the board to see or know more about, since this is in the city of Santa Barbara and there is no plan.
I'll find the,
Well, you can comment
yeah,
later on.
oh, sorry.
Okay. If the chair allows it.
Sorry.
It is part of the city of Santa Barbara. There is no neighborhood plan. So you're really under the city of Santa Barbara's guidelines, which is why you're here. So with that, I've prepared some thoughts. The purpose of this board is to protect and preserve the natural and historical charm and beauty of the city that distinguishes Santa Barbara from other cities. Now, the ABR does not mandate a required architectural style. However, an area's prevailing architectural style and area compatibility are factors which should be considered. I'm reading right out of our guidelines, if you can't tell. One of ABR's stated goals, as well as is in the city charter, is to encourage the preservation of pre-1925 and Hispanic styles of architecture in areas which do not possess examples of a distinctive architecture, and this area has all of them. Structures and additions should be designed to lead the area towards designs which are harmonious with Santa Barbara's distinctive built environment. The design of this project, I find, is not compatible with the desired architectural qualities and characteristics which are distinctive of Santa Barbara and of the particular neighborhood surrounding the project. The size, mass, bulk, height, and scale of the project is less or more appropriate for its location in the neighborhood. But I would like to see a section through not only the building, but the site, Middle Road, the restaurant beyond, which has changed a number of times, and to Clark's Oyster Bar, so that we could really understand the scale of difference, because the rendering, sometimes the building looks quite small, sometimes it looks quite large. And from the street, we have to add another 3 feet of looking up into it. Anyways, the traditional style of the city's Hispanic tradition are preferred at locations that are highly visible to the public, such as a gateway or entry points to the city. And as you pointed out, this was the historical entry point of the city. I also find it's interesting that the character of this street is so different from the north side to the south side. The south side is the sort of pedestrian-friendly gathering spot, retail. The north side is more the housing, and it has to do with the elevation. But I just think it's interesting that the street expresses such different characteristics from side to side. So we also asked for a study of the 10 closest properties and additional properties as needed, so that these can be a tool used in evaluating your neighborhood compatibility, making your case. While the proposed building design is clearly of a high quality and aesthetically pleasing, the building does not present an integrated appearance with dark tinted glass and dark metal frames and board form concrete. Therefore, I leave it up to you to justify its use. I recommend respecting the general alignment of the setbacks of the neighboring properties, and that would be Clark's and the others building across Middle Road, but you've argued against that to create these public gathering spaces. From the submission, I can't make a determination from the photo illustration that the massing does not overwhelm the adjacent buildings in relationship to its size, location, and the surrounding neighborhood. Provide that section through to help me understand what that scale is of the buildings. The proposal's parking driveway and the parking shed dominate the streetscape, I think, in an unfavorable way, and I would apply some more attention to either reducing that impact with landscape or design. But as I say, from the street level, we're going to be looking up a driveway into that parking shed. I don't think that's what you're really after as an inviting space to be. Moving the parking to the rear of the lot and driveway to Middle Road, I suppose you've investigated that. It's clearly not possible, but it would make the project more pedestrian-friendly and visually friendly from Coast Village Road if the parking were not as visible. It's 50% of your site here. So I would encourage the use of traditional building materials compatible with those used in neighborhood buildings. The color should complement the details, blend in with the surrounding buildings or dominant structures. Oh, and the use of glass railings as guardrails is not the preferred material. You weren't specific about that. Maybe it was wire on that balcony, but that should be made clear. And generous amounts of open space and landscaping is considered a positive enhancement to a project. So I would develop those aspects as thoroughly as you can. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Board Member 6.
Yeah, wow. I differ from Mr. Whalen. basing his ideas on the written word as opposed to my basis is on the visual experience of Coast Village. And I see a eclectic neighborhood. I see, there are Spanish introduced there, but I see a vital and charming different types of architecture that I think that this building would be very successful and comfortable within. I think that we're missing one great big thing up front, is that it is so appreciated to have a reasonable density of development on this rather than what happens, for instance, on the opposite end of the street, across from the Santa Barbara Inn. Montecito Inn, just stacking and bulging out the development to the street. It's so refreshing to see this, and I appreciate that big insight and direction. I think, as I said, I think it is compatible with and fits in with the street in its various forms. I think it's a beautifully designed project. Its materials, I think that, the bronze, the darkness, the handmade look is far from a contemporary metal box, and I think it's gorgeous. There's a few things that I would like to see, and as I said, I struggle with not having canopy trees. I think you could find places, if you can't do it within the parking lot, out front in the parking, reconfiguring the rampway, or somehow getting more substantial upright landscaping there. I think that a weather canopy above the east entry is important. And I think that, I would hope that you could choose materials on your gathering space that would indeed, have the resilience that you anticipate for use, but would almost look more landscape than, deep greens or even grass between, I don't want to say grasscrete, but concrete. Grasscrete, yeah, but I'd like to see it be used as desired, but yet have a more landscape look. Now, my issue, if we look at the elevations, I think that if you really look at these elevations carefully, there's just a height issue in my mind. It's just, you could have this gorgeous building, and you could take it out easily. You could have this reduced by 3, almost even 4 feet in some areas. I think that, instead of 10-foot doors, and 9-foot would be adequate. There's the secondary forms. I think there is, that could easily come down 3 to 4 feet, and the slope of the roof, instead of 5 and 12, could be 3 and 12 or 3.5 and 12. It would begin to, the feeling of the green and green craftsman look that has has more horizontal than this vertical look. So I think, I really would feel it important that you really look at your heights, given that there is only one story, with the exception of the mezzanine, that this could come down, and I think you would be very surprised that it would add to the beauty of this structure. But again, I appreciate the low density, and I think it fits into the neighborhood.
Board Member Anderson?
Oh, okay. Yes, I would second Board Member Six's comments on the height. It does, to me, feel a little bit tall with the 10-0 door. And in terms of the roof slope as well, I think that actually would help it with the, because in the green and green, it's a low slope roof, and that's how you get that low slung character to be of the landscape. And so, you came in talking about the genus loci, right, and the place, and that's good. And the landscape, and pointing at Montecito Peak. I like that because you're interested in how this building fits in this bigger site, and that's excellent. I think, to me, it does feel appropriate, and it does very much feel like this building is about celebrating the landscape. And so I think that's great. The landscape buffer in the site plan, if we could just flip to the site plan quickly, the way the building interfaces with from the interior to the exterior, I think my comments are primarily about that, and how right now I think that it's my view that there should be more porosity with the exterior, so that there should be, instead of a planter around the perimeter of that corner where the plaza is, I think that should be doors, and I think it should be so that people can come in and out potentially, and so that the finished floor is almost visually continuous with the exterior, or the exterior comes into the building. I also think that the corner needs a little bit of finessing, and I understand this is the first pass, but there's something kind of, the building is so beautiful. It's this gem, this pavilion building on the corner, but then the stairs are rather utilitarian and kind of straightforward, and I think the way one ascends up into that plaza and sees the underside of the roof and experiences the entry to this building could be a little more elevated, rather than just, the 5-foot wide cast-in-place concrete stair with handrails on either side. But that can all be worked through, and I think that how the transitions on how the building relates to the sidewalk, I think that could actually be where some of the negative criticisms or the concerns about the building could be maybe that area is planted out with more landscape or trees or something that helps somehow helps it speak to other tastes on the board. In terms of, and I do hear Board Member Whalen's comments also about, you look at this building, it's so bold, and it's like dark bronze metal with dark glass, and I love it because, that, I think architecture should be distinct. And I read the public comments, and I think, largely the community is clearly in support of it. So I support this, but in terms of taking a balanced view, I think there could be more interest in, warm tones in the board form and the site work maybe, or some kind of interest in, I don't know, what the local materials of the geology in our area are expressed in the planters or something like that, the sandstone or something. And then that's, talk about genus loci. There's tons of that here. Because the steel, yes, it talks about the railroad, but it doesn't necessarily, come from, the local site per se. Like, I like Chez Panisse, the restaurant up in Berkeley, about all the local food. And to me, there's tons of material in our local site, whether it's sandstone or native plantings, that can be expressed more in the landscaping that would help it feel more rooted in the area, to kind of strike a balance between it's so different and it's like the same as everything. So anyway, I support it. Thanks.
Board Member Noon?
Yeah, thank you. I don't have a whole lot more to say on that. I agree with a lot of the comments both ways. I mean, it's a beautiful building. It is. It's a lot of fun to look at. If built, I would want to go in it just to see it and look up and look around. I mean, it's that type of building. I also agree that the colors, there's enough variety up and down Coast Village Road that the color is compatible. I do, however, struggle with the size. It's a one-story building, but it's competing height-wise with the two-story behind it, and some other multi-story buildings around it. So it's not to mention just to get in it, the grade increase. So as the pedestrians are walking up and down the sidewalk, it's a big building that they're looking at, so close to the street. I think the transparency of the walls obviously help. But, all glass, that obviously helps. I do, not only functionality, the mezzanine's a little disappointing, because it's limited to who can use it, and just aesthetically, being there at the front with the stairs, for me. But you didn't come here for my opinion. You, well,
we did.
But I do, the octagon, it is, I agree with Board Member Anderson, it's a, wonderful little piece. It's a really an exciting building. But I would agree with the comments that, maybe some height reduction. I don't know how you could finesse the site to help with some of the, just feeling the scale of it. But so I would say I'm supportive, but with considering these comments that have been made.
Great. I also think it's a great project. I think the architectural style is compatible with the neighborhood. I actually don't have a problem with the height. I do have a problem with the proportions, so maybe just consider lowering the second floor head height a foot or something just to match. I think what's throwing it off is that concrete base they have, so then your door, anyways. I would consider studying the proportions. I was actually looking at making it higher, so I'm opposite of everyone on the board. I actually don't mind the 5 and 12. I don't think it needs to go to a craftsman style 3 and 12. I appreciate you bringing this package. It's very helpful to see. I think the mass bulk and scale is appropriate for the neighborhood. I think the location on the site plan is appropriate. I would consider developing the courtyard and the connection to the interior of the space. I would consider developing the entrances and potentially only having one staircase from the street and maybe at the corner. Otherwise, I think it's a really nice project, and I look forward to seeing it come to life. All right.
Can I add?
Oh, yes.
I think, my bandwagon for trees, I think there's places for the trees to be heavy in front of the parking lot, and then there's places for them not to be, with the gorgeous axial view of the pavilion. So I think that, that one should be dense in places and not at all in others.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Okay, so I think you were able to capture most of our comments, so we don't have to repeat. Okay. Well, and that's all we have for today.
Okay.
So,
Well,
do you have
thanks for your time.
questions? Okay.
Appreciate your time.
Great.
Thanks for letting us
All right.
see your ear, so.
Thank you.
So we can
And-
adjourn the Architectural Board of Review meeting for March 16th, 2026. Thank you.